YouTube, what's up? Just got done with our yearly trip out in the fall that we take for the last probably I'd say 5 or 6 years, and we go out there for usually 3 or 4 days, get an Airbnb, me and both my brothers and one of our buddies, and it's always a blast, man. And we usually wreck the fish pretty good. But this year, I'd say it's probably fishing wise, was probably the slowest year we've probably ever had out there, honestly. Don't get me wrong, we caught fish, but man, they were just really spread out. The conditions were super tough, man. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, and there was really no wind for the entire trip, man. So if you know about bass fishing, you know that cloud and winds, or a combination of both, is great for bass fishing, man. It gets the bass on their feet, they're moving, cruising, looking for food, usually a little bit better. But in the conditions that we were dealing with, man, a lot of times they tuck down to the bottom or they tuck to cover. So it was just tough, man. And yeah, so I'm gonna break down the footage a little bit. And like I said, I think I was out there for, I want to say three and a half days, and the first day was my best day, man. So actually, since it's like a 2 hour drive, so the first day I got out there a little late. Actually, I didn't get to the water until noon, and I had my best day. And it was all about the jig and the Ned rig. Like I said, I was just fishing those baits on the bottom. I did catch a couple fish though swimming the jig, but for the most part, man, the first day was my best day, man. I got on a pretty good little stretch, and so I'll go ahead and jump into the footage of the first day catches. All right, on the board. Like I said, man, got out here a little bit later in the day for this first day. So we got out here at noon, and the conditions are bluebird sky, little wind. So on paper, man, these are tough fishing conditions, even in the fall. So I had to slow down. I've been throwing some moving baits, and throwing this 3/8 ounce jig with a Z-Craw Junior on the back. Nice. Is the camera rolling? Indeed, awesome. Number 2 on the jig. I was actually swimming this guy a little bit, and he came out and popped it a little bit nicer. So one side of this bank's shady, the other side is sunny, and this was the first cast. I went down that shady bank, didn't get a bite, and then first cast over here on the sun. God, this guy's sweet. Hey. Hey, there's 2 in about 20 minutes, because I caught that last one and then kept the camera rolling. That black and blue jig, man. Awesome. Hey. So we had to go down all the way to Mr. Ned rig to get bit, but that's all right. That's why you fish one, man. Nice little bass on the Ned rig. Broke up about an hour slump for me. Got the little TRD, I think think that's called the TRD Bugs, on a little 15th ounce Ned head, busting out the BFS setup. So if you go back and watch recent video, I talk about my BFS a little bit, and pretty new. There's a snag. Pretty new to it, but I definitely think there's a place for it in my arsenal. So I've got a little box that I'm slowly going to start building with the Ned stuff. And so, yeah, there we go, man. That's pretty cool. Like I said, it's been about an hour since I got bit last, and we've definitely run into some tough conditions out here. So, yeah, power of the Ned, baby. All right, Ned rig, bringing in the biggest bass of the day so far. He was offshore. Yeah, that's a nice chunky one right there. Sweet. Oh, there we go. Ned rig again. Might have to get the net for this one. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. Ned rig, baby. It's probably the biggest one I've ever caught on a Ned rig. Yeah, a little bitty crawl. Might get a weight on him just for the heck of it. A little over 3. How about that? 3-pounder on the Ned rig, baby. That is definitely the biggest fish ever caught on the Ned rig. Awesome. Oh yeah, get up here, baby. Big one on a jig. Oh man, he swallowed that thing. That's awesome. Laid down the jig, picked it up again, and was actually swimming that jig when he did that right there. He crushed that. Awesome. Sweet, man. 2.5-pounder. Mixing it up here today. Going finesse from the Ned rig back up to the jig. Awesome. First cast back up with the Ned rig. Over here on this dam. Nice. Man, he ate that good. Yeah, going down this wall here with this dam wall. I don't spend tons of time fishing a dam. It's something I'm trying to do more of because I know it holds fish. Here we go on the Ned rig again. Man, keep throwing different things on this damn wall, on these rocks, and I just keep coming back to the Ned rig, because between this and the regular jig, man, pretty much been the ticket today. All right, man, honorable mention real quick. That was the biggest fish I've ever caught on the Ned rig. It was like a 3-pounder. And so that was pretty cool, man, because I fished the Ned rig quite a bit over the years. And, you know, typically you do catch smaller fish on the Ned rig, but, you know, you can run into the big ones every once in a while. Okay, so the next clips I'm going to show, were just spread out kind of over the next couple days at different times. But I did get on a decent little underspin bite. So the underspin has been my best producing bait on this fall trip overall over the years. Like I've caught more fish on the underspin than any other lure out there over the last like 5 or 6 years coming out here in the fall. And love the underspin, man. Can't say enough about it. It's this trip alone has made me a believer in that bait. And yeah, man. So every time I come out here, I pretty much have one just constantly tied on a setup. And so let's go ahead and jump into some of these underspin catches. It's a fat little fish. Nice, I was recording there. Chunky little bass on the underspin. All right, man, the wind is picked up a little bit, and it's a nice, easy wind blowing down this bank, so we're just gonna drift down this whole little stretch here of reeds. Put this underspin back on. Looking for him to be a little bit more aggressive maybe with that wind picking up. Sometimes that helps get him moving. Nice. Awesome. Underspin delivers again. Man, I just had one smoke my underspin. Feels like he's pretty decent. Oh yeah, that is a fat fish right there. Man, he is not that long, but dude, he is. That fish isn't that long, man, but look at this, dude. That's a football right there. He is fat. All right, underspin, baby. All right, man, and saving the best for last. So these next clips that I'm gonna show were, I would say, the highlight bait and technique strategy of the trip. So gotta shout out my brother Greg. So he loves throwing crankbaits. A lot of times that's all he'll throw. I mean, he brings out the whole arsenal just like the rest of us, but he can't put down the crankbait. And so, like I mentioned, with these conditions, man, these fish were really tight to cover, and there's a lot of wood in this lake. And so, what he did was he would just throw that crankbait. Specifically, man, the 6 Sense Curve 55 comes through wood really well, and it dives like, excuse me, I want to say it dives like close to 10 feet. But he would just get on these laydowns and would just throw that crankbait up in there and reel them just right through the heart of the laydown. And he caught a lot of fish, man. He probably caught more fish than anybody on the trip, and that's really all he did. And it got to the point to where he would just literally go from laydown to laydown and just cover and only fish those. And so clearly, you know, I followed suit, and I got on some fish doing that too. But I love cranking like the next guy, but man, I just love mixing it up and fishing different lures. I can't dedicate myself only to a lure, but when it's the only thing catching fish, man, you know, you go for it, right? So I did get on some fish doing that. Really thanks to Greg, man. Like I said, he was kicking butt out there doing that. And so yeah, man, I did that as well. And so we'll jump into some of these crankbait fish. Nice. Finally hooked up on a crankbait. Awesome. Got a shout out my brother Greg on this one. He's been catching fish all day on this color, and he put me on that color. So, and right against the wood too. Perfect. Fish on, baby. All right, let me back out of here. Fish on wood, man. That's what my brother did all day yesterday, and really that was the only thing that we did between all of us that was consistently getting bit. So I've only got a few hours this morning. It's probably what I'm going to spend my time focusing on doing, man. Awesome, baby, right on that wood. All right, guys, that was really it for the most part, man. I mean, I caught a couple more fish that I didn't put on camera. Nothing big though, just small fish, just kind of spread out through the trip. But yeah, it was tough, man. It was a grind out there. But one thing I was thinking about with this trip and just with fishing in general is that you can always learn something, man, when you go fishing. Every single time you fish, whether it's a good or bad trip, you can pull lessons to learn. And a lot of times, that's going to come down to, how long you stick with the bait, how quick you move on, how long do you fish in an area, how long do you move on from that? And really that's fishing, is like those decisions that you make is, how well do you adapt, how quick do you change, how long do you stay with something, and you look at the professional fishermen, and I think that's what they master. Just really good instincts and decision making. And so, yeah, man, there's a lot of that, because every time you go on a fishing trip, man, I think everybody, has a tendency to look back and think of what you would have done differently, or just, think about what you did good. And, for me on this trip, since the crankbait bite was so good, and the water was a little off color for this lake, usually there's a little bit more clarity. And so looking back, I wish I would have fished, my oversized square bill. I got some like jumbo square bills. They're like 2.5 size. I really never throw those, but with the off-colored water, and the fish being on wood like that, I really wish I would have thrown those a little bit more, because I was throwing those curve 55s too, and those things are tiny, man. And so I missed a lot of fish. I caught fish on it, but I missed a lot too. And I think it's because it was such a small bait in that dirty water that they were swiping at it and didn't get it good a lot. So I think with that oversized square bill, I probably could have hooked up a little bit more, maybe caught some bigger fish. And also too, fishing points, I don't know why. It's just one of those things I just don't ever do enough of, because you hear about points being like just as good as like, shallow visible cover. But I think it's mental for me. It's like, because I can't see, a lay down, I don't know. I feel like if I'm on a point, I just might as well be out in the middle of the lake, which is not the case. So that's just like a mental weird thing. And I think as fishermen, you can be stuck in fishing, you can be hard-headed, stuck with, just bad habits or just fishing history. But you got to be willing to change and adapt, man. So I think those are some of the things that I walked away with that I could learn from. So anyways, guys, thanks for checking out the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.